Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me again here at The Good Life with Steve. I am Steve. Now, I've been thinking about it because I've been here for about, well over a year now. And, I don't know that I could ever really want to go back to the U.S. And when I think of it, two words actually come to mind. One's greed and the other one's envy. Greed has turned America or American life into a bill people can not escape and much less afford, but envy has turned America into, it's turned your neighbors into like your competitors. It's turned friends into rivalries, and it's caused family members to be more like measuring sticks than anything else. And I realized that I don't even want to live in a place where greed and envy set the rules. So today I want to talk to you about the 5 reasons that I really don't see myself going back to the U.S. And actually there's a 6 bonus reason, so hang around for that one, because as I was thinking about doing this video, something else came to mind, and if I don't mention it now, it's like an 800-pound gorilla sitting right there in the middle of the room, and I can't just not talk about this. So join me and let's do this.
Hey yo, let's talk about life, ain't worth keeping in it though. I was dying inside, America took its toll. Chasing dreams, losing love, trying to reach a goal. Every setback left scars, not cut through my heart. The Most High kept me breathing, gave me a new start. Loved ones gone, memories heavy in my chest. Loved and lost, I still rise, I'm still blessed. The grind tried to break me, stroke knocked me down, but I stood back up, feet firm on the ground. Now face the sunrise, rhythm in my stride. Grateful for the second chance, blessed to be alive. From the pain and the struggle, I found my design. The good life calling, yeah, this moment is mine.
9 scars on my heart, but I'm stronger today. Every breath is a gift, every beat is a way. I'm living proof you can rise, even after the fall. The good life is here, and I answer the call.
So reason number 1. So you ever found yourself standing in a checkout line, say at the grocery store, and there's a mother in front of you. She has a couple of kids and a buggy like full of groceries, right? She's tugging them along, and she kept looking at the total as the lady's ringing up. You know how they scan the stuff and you can see the total adding up? And then as it's adding up, she's looking at that number and you can see that tension building in her face, and she's starting to put things back one by one back into the cart. The fruit, the cereal, the milk, the basic things that you buy. That's what greed looks like in America. You don't really see it in boardrooms because it shows up with ordinary families, paying the price that, I don't know why corporations are raising your bills. They call it progress. Solomon spoke about this in, I think, Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and then in verse 10. He wrote that he who loves silver will not be satisfied with silver, nor he who loves abundance will increase. This is all vanity, and that's what it is. So my question, I guess, where this is concerned is, how did somebody else's greed become our cost of survival? Reason number 2, okay? You imagine you're going to a friend's barbecue, maybe a family member's barbecue, it doesn't matter, right? But the conversation isn't about laughter, it isn't about memories. People aren't talking about past times or remember when, you know how we used to do that? It's about who has the newest car, the biggest house, who's taken the fanciest vacation. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting better things for your life, for your family, your children. But you sit there and you watch as smiles turn into comparison over things that don't even matter. Not really, but that's envy. It doesn't celebrate life. It turns the simple joys in life into childlike comparisons. And it leaves all of us just chasing shadows. Solomon talked about this one too in Ecclesiastes, I think it's 14, where he says something like, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, It's all vanity and chasing the wind. So let me ask you something. Does America make you feel like you're more content or more fulfilled, or does it just leave you wanting more? Here's number 3, the erosion of freedom, right? You know, just walking through an airport in the United States or just down any street, you name it, Elm Street. Cameras are everywhere, scanners, checkpoints, all of that. And I thought freedom used to mean dignity, privacy, independence. I don't feel those things when I'm in America. I don't feel those things when I'm always being watched. Now it feels like privacy and dignity is something that you like rent for a day. You can get it for a little while, but you can't keep it forever. It's not something that you own. It's something that you rent. It's something you pay for. You get it for a little while, and it seems like every year the cost of it goes up. Then there's a 4th reason. The weight of a constant anxiety, You ever wake up in the morning? I know I did when I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? And your heart's racing. You're already thinking about, how you're going to pay the bills, right? The deadlines, the debt, right? And you got to get to work, right? And the first thing you do when you get dressed and you get ready to get out of the house is you grab your morning coffee, and you don't do it as a ritual anymore. You do it as survival fuel, because you just got to get it and you just got to get going. That's the rhythm of America. Anxiety is like the soundtrack that plays in the background. It's just constantly playing back there. It just goes on and on and on and on. And I know you feel it. I know a lot of people that I talked to here felt that they actually feel that when they go back to the U.S. and sometimes they're anxious about not even going back and visiting family. They just say, you know what? I'll see you when I get there. And when anxiety becomes normal, joy vanishes. You're not living anymore. If you ever did, you're just finding yourself dancing to the beat of somebody else's drum. So I don't know. Does it feel like, maybe it's me, but does it feel like you're living there or that you're just surviving? Because I know I had my thoughts when I was there. And then there's the loss of community spirit. We've lost something, that in America at least. Community. And at the rate we're going, I don't know if we'll ever get it back, because it grew organically out of a struggle, and coming out of like the early and mid 20th century. So many things were going on that people had to come together, and I don't think that you can manufacture that, And I'm not sure if it helps to blame anybody anymore. That's just how far we've gone. I remember when neighbors would knock on your door and bring you a plate of food. Then they sit there on your porch with you and eat it, talk to you while you're eating it. But somehow along the way, greed and envy eroded that spirit too. Now the doors stay locked. When I was a kid, we come home from school, me and my siblings, right? Nobody had a key to the house. We just walk in the house. Why? Because the door was always unlocked, right? And then our eyes stay down. We just look down. We see our neighbors, we look down. We're always looking away. We don't want to look at each other. Our eyes stay down. People live side by side up there, and they never really live together. I know I've spoken with some people here who have traveled back to the U.S., and they typically go to New York, like New York, New Jersey, because, well, that's just where they go. But I remember talking to one young lady, and she said that everybody in the U.S., when they come home, they just go in the house. They don't, it's not that we outside thing happening, right? So we don't, we just go home. We just go home. I know when I was there, I had a house, and we pull into the driveway, and the garage door would come up, it go down, and you never see your neighbor's house unless you go out to check your mail. You grab your mail and you wave, chuck deuces, and you're back in the house. But I think it said something in Matthew, I think chapter 22, that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Heck, we barely even know our neighbors anymore. And without community, a society feels empty. So when I say I can't go back to America, it's not out of bitterness, it's out of love for the peace that I've found since I've left. Because I found that good life. And I found that it isn't about greed, and it's not about envy. It's built on gratitude for what I have right here, right now. You know what I mean? But I want to get to that sixth thing, and I want to go ahead and do that now. It's like the bonus. So for those of you who hung around, you get to hear this, all right? One of the reasons I left America, well, let me put it this way. If I'm in America and I weigh 135 pounds and I'm about 5 feet 9 inches tall, and two big muscular bullies that come up to me, and everybody knows that they're bullies, right? They're 6 feet 2 inches tall. They weigh well over 200 pounds. They're big and muscular and athletic, right? And now I have to defend myself against these two people. I'm outnumbered, I'm outweighed, I'm outmuscled, right? But I pull out something, I defend myself, and somehow I manage to injure one, and then he succumbs to his injuries. Now I'm threatened, I'm bullied, I'm outnumbered again, I'm outmuscled, but I can get sentenced to 35 years in prison for defending myself. So much for standing your ground. Where else does that happen but America? I could be a 14-year-old teenager, and I could go into a store, I could open up the refrigerator where the drinks are, the soft drinks or whatever, and I could grab something, look at it, put it back, and not purchase it, and have video evidence that I put it back, and be accused of stealing. And I say, no, I didn't. And as a matter of fact, I'm out this camp. I don't even want to do business with you today. But the person who accuses me grabs their weapon and comes after me. Now I can run and be shot and killed in the process. And the person who did all of this, even with video evidence that I didn't actually take anything illegally, can get off scot-free. A couple of years ago, and it's really coming up right at 2 years ago, in I think June of 2024. So we're right there. There was a young lady. Her name was Sonia, by the way, and she thought that there was a prowler outside of her house, and she called for help. So the sheriff deputies showed up, 2 of them, right? And I didn't get all the words that were said between the 2 of them, but she said something as innocuous as, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And that person, something just came up in him, and he said, "I will shoot you in your effing face." Now all of this is on tape, right? And he goes ahead and does that and takes her life. And if it were not for video evidence and it being seen all over the country, he'd be let off scot-free. But since there's evidence, he only got, what's it called, manslaughter? Where else do these things take place but America? And so, yeah, it's just not the place for me. So I chose to, and that really was about the last straw for me, because a lot of things that happened in Jacksonville and in Buffalo, New York, and just all across the quote-unquote fruited plain, and all of these things have been happening time and time again, and those were years ago, and it's still happening today. And people like me are just saying, maybe there's someplace else. Maybe there's just someplace else, because I don't think you can fix that, because I think it's in Obadiah. It's a Habakkuk. Either way, it says that, woe unto those who build a city on iniquity and a house on blood, or something like that, right? So when you build something on a wretched foundation, it's going to always be wretched. And I don't care what you do and what you call yourself. You can call yourself the good guys, the land of the free, the home of the brave. None of that. Words won't matter, because your deeds precede all of that. And for that reason, many of us have decided to leave and find what we consider for ourselves as the good life. I'm Steve. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.
9 scars on my heart, but I'm stronger today. Every breath is a gift, every beat is a way. I'm living proof you can rise even after the fall. The good life is here, and I answer the call.